Hello, my name is Megan Kaun. I am a Zhineng Qigong teacher and healer, and today I wanted to talk about unconditional love. Now, this is a topic I talk about a lot because the Mingshui or pure consciousness state that we work on in our Zhineng Qigong practice is often described as unconditional love. And if you want to learn more about this, you can visit my website at intothehum.com or check out my free 12-week series on awakening consciousness on my YouTube channel. But today I wanted to go further into the concept of unconditional love because I believe in our society we've really confused the concept of love. And I lived this situation firsthand for many years of my marriage. And it's why it's one of the most important things that I've studied in coming back to myself and in exploring the life I wanted and who I truly am and all that. So back at the beginning of my marriage, my husband and I were graduate students at Stanford University. We were both in engineering, and he was in a decision analysis class with a very well-meaning professor who probably had no pure consciousness experience, who had this really funny logical thinking idea about unconditional love. And he taught my husband that unconditional love was something that you could only have for your children, that it was some kind of biological response, and that in a marriage relationship where you choose who you marry, that's not unconditional love. That's conditional love because you've chosen it or something. So my husband told me about this, and I went through many years of my relationship very confused, and I didn't realize how much it impacted our relationship. And so I started really going in deeper to the meaning of unconditional love and practicing consciousness practices. So unconditional love in actuality is a different type of love. It's a type of love that's both unattached, so you're not fixated and concerned with the duality of the situation of your love. It's unattached, but it is also merged. So I know it sounds a little strange, but in consciousness practice, we detach from the duality of the physical, or of our physical life, of good and bad, of right and wrong, and we connect with the true essence of things, the pure consciousness of things. So in a true unconditional love, like the type of love that is talked about in religions, that Jesus talked about, this is a love on a pure consciousness level that we can experience through practices like Zhineng Qigong, of being completely merged with the essence of the other. And therefore, in seeing their true essence, we love that. We love them unconditionally. And it is a state that the practice would extend to everybody, right? Jesus said, love thy neighbor. So that was a way of saying, love everybody, love thy enemy, right? Another thing that he said, you can unconditionally love everybody. That is an ideal to aspire to. Now, in contrast, conditional love, and this is what most of us think love is. And if this is you out there, glad you're listening to this video. I would like to share with you that there's a whole nother level of love that is awaiting you to step into. So conditional love it's more attached. You're attached to the duality of the situation. You're attached to good, bad, right, and wrong. Your love for the other is conditional on them doing a certain thing, being a certain way, meeting some kind of ideals or standards that you have. You could decide that you don't love them anymore, and if they don't act a certain way. So it's really sticky, right? When you're attached to something in the dualistic framework, when you're judging it constantly, do I like it or not like it? Do I like it or not like it? It's a really sticky type of attachment. You are not merged in the consciousness level, because if you were, you would be in the unconditional, freely given love category. And this type of love, it requires a lot of energy from everyone involved. you're expending a lot of energy doing all this judging and making sure that the love is meeting your standards so that you can give the love. The other person's doing the same thing. And this whipsaw happens. You'll see in relationships where, I love you, I hate you. It's like this constant, like, back and forth. It's exhausting, right? So in Zhineng Qigong, we practice stepping out of that pattern and into a different type of pattern. And it can completely change a love or a partner relationship like marriage, completely change relationships with your family, and completely change your relationships with all your friends and all the people that you hate, to really study the difference between conditional and unconditional love, and to step into a paradigm more and more of unconditional love. So, again, at the beginning of this video, I said one of the most radical things we can do is step into unconditional love. And this is something I love to think about, because if we truly love, if we have the capacity to love everything, including our enemies, that requires a whole new paradigm, a whole new framework to operate under. And in our world, we're often encouraged to be in a conditional love situation to keep everyone in line, right? Like, I'm going to withhold my love from you, my attention, my affection, unless you toe the line. And so this, there's a mistaken belief or feeling maybe that this keeps society together, keeps people in line, keeps people from doing bad things. But really, it just makes very complicated situations and very energetically exhausting situations. One last thing I wanted to say about these two types of love is that just because you are unconditionally loving someone like your spouse, it doesn't mean that that person has no meaning for you. I think a big reason why I was afraid to step into unconditional love, and why I actually wanted other people to conditionally love me, because I felt like I could control their love, right? I could act a certain way, and then they would have to love me. And this was all probably mostly subconscious, but it was there. So just because I have the capacity to love my spouse unconditionally in a more universal sense doesn't mean that he as an individual isn't really special to me. Yes, he's no better or worse than any other being in the universe, and I have the capacity to provide him the same amount of unconditional love as I do everybody in the world. But he is special to me. His particular, who he is, his essence, is very special to me. And so in having the ability to unconditionally love him, to also paradoxically recognize he is special to me and mean something to me, and I'm affectionate towards him, it's really opened up our relationship. It's so much easier to be with him, to love him, especially in hard times, especially in times when he is not acting in a way where maybe in the past, a conditional love relationship, I would have maybe pulled some love or energy away from him. We don't have to do that anymore. It's way easier. So I hope this video kind of sparked your interest in this subject and helped you understand that there are many ways of being in love with others, with the world. And I hope you'll join me on some of my Qigong adventures to really have a personal experience, a direct experience in stepping into some of these new and more expansive ways of loving. On this note, I have a free class on healing relationships where we go into some of this, where we do have some experience in dealing with a difficult relationship in a pure consciousness state, to step into an unconditional loving space, even with somebody that you're having maybe some difficulties with. So I hope you check that out. It's on my website, intothehum.com, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.